What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the NFC North Roundtable. We got our man Dose of Dion in the house, Basaraki and One Bar. Nick is on the way. He'll be here shortly. But listen, we got a lot of to talk about in a short amount of time. We want to go ahead and dive in. But before we do, how are you feeling today, Dion?
Man, I don't know, man. This whole week's been weird. I just got off the phone with a co-host that I've had for years now, and we were just talking about the 2021 season, man, and what that was like. Every post-game show, like the energy has changed in such a crazy fast way. It's strange, but at the same time, man, I think it's not only about what's now, but it's also about, how everybody talks about the future's bright. The future's bright. Everybody's future is bright. But I do believe, man, that the future is bright just because of the drafting, man. When you start to roll through this roster, you take a look at, man, what they put together in such a short amount of time. Makes you excited, not only about now, but the fact that we feel like this thing can roll for a long time.
Nice. What about yourself, Baz? How you feeling today, man?
Today specifically is great. The Packers are moving on from defensive coordinator Joe Barry, so we take our small victories throughout the week, right? Like 2 days ago, we're still kind of getting over this loss, and, overall, I was still very happy with the season from the Green Bay Packers and looking forward to the draft capital they have this entire offseason. I love the offseason, so I'm ready to start diving into all this with their free agency draft and everything of that sort, and who they're going to hire at defensive coordinator. So although we lost on Sunday, or on Saturday, it's still a win for the Packers today.
All right. Well, a huge win today. A lot of people have been calling for that. I will get more on that in a moment. One Bar, how you feeling, brother?
I'd be feeling better if Nick was here. He bumps me up one link. I'm at the bottom of the barrel right now, so hopefully he gets here real soon so I'm not in the last. But you know what? Dion nailed it. I mean, the Lions, they're the cream of the crop when it comes to NFC North right now. They're the team to beat, and he's right. It looks like the future is the Lions. I was a little disappointed, Baz. I'm sorry. I was hoping they were going to re-sign Joe Barry to a multi-year contract there. So good for you, but I was hoping to see him back. But like Baz said, Vikings world, mock drafts, looking at free agents. It's the offseason.
Mock drafts, looking at free agents. That's what's up, ladies and gentlemen. This stream is being powered by Roundtable Sports in conjunction with BetUS. Listen, make sure you hit the like button on your way in. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. This channel has over 3,300 subs, on our way to 3,500. It is crazy. We've only been operating for half of a season or so, and already over 3,000 subs. Just phenomenal to all the subscribers. Thank you for the love and support. Make sure that you check out Roundtable Sports, the mother channel. Roundtable Sports, the company that's bringing divisions together. As you can see, Roundtable Sports is live, active on YouTube, starting with the 3 and Out show every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Dion was on there on Monday. He took a L. Just saying, Dion took a L. But hey, he held his own at the end of the day. But go check him out. I know Bass, have you been on the show?
I have not, but definitely need to.
Nice. Well, hey, maybe you could take down UCF Jaguar with
show
the
is a little
Jags.
rigged.
He's the champ
The show
right
is
now.
a little rigged, so
it's a little
Hey, was Dion not participation in the rigging? He was. What about
you gotta, do what you gotta do. Give yourself a chance, TD.
I hear you. Hey, One Bar, what about you? Have you been on?
I haven't. I have not. I would love to
okay.
take down Jaguar.
Yeah, UCF Jaguar, man. He took the trophy. And I gotta say, like Dion, it was a little rigged. But hey, man. Hopefully we're gonna have you guys on soon at some point. Real quick, man. We got a special guest. Man, we actually have a real NFL player that's gonna join the stream right now. What's up, Nick?
No, I was not saying me. not today. Not today. Maybe next lifetime. What's up, guys?
How you feeling, Nick? How's things going?
Yeah, we're living the dream. What can we say? The Bears aren't in the playoffs, so I'm used to this.
I hear you, man. Listen, man, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are, NFC North Roundtable. Make sure you subscribe now, hit that like button. Also, on Roundtable Sports, you have every single division listed as well. AFC East, AFC West, AFC South, all of the roundtables, as you can see. are active. We're going to be launching the last 4 over the summer. The NFC West is going crazy because San Francisco, obviously, they're still in it. So just fun times, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you check it out. Show your love and support for all the roundtables. All right, real quick, I want to dive right back in and let you know that this stream is being powered by BetUS. Receive a 125% bonus. The link is in the description of the video. I got to go back to you, Baz. So what's next? You know, you get rid of the defensive coordinator like everybody wanted. What's next in that area? Who do you want them to bring in? Do you already have candidates?
Yeah, personally, I do. And it's hard to kind of guess what the Packers are going to do because I feel like Brian Gutekunst, Mike Murphy, and Matt LaFleur, it's very like kind of confusing on who they're going to bring in sometimes. And you'll see them interview people and you're like, who? Right. And or why. They kind of did that with Joe Barry after he had the 0-16 season with the Lions, right? Dion, right? And then he also had some bad seasons with Washington and the Packers yet still hired him. So it's kind of confusing. But a couple guys I have written down is Dave Aranda, head coach of Baylor right now, used to be DC at Wisconsin. If he were to step down from that position, which I think he's like 23-24 and so far at Baylor, so not doing too great, and take a DC spot in the NFL, I think he would be a great fit. Jim Leonard, another defensive coordinator from Wisconsin, is I think he's a spot at Illinois right now, but he didn't make the jump to NFL yet. I think he could. Fangio, maybe, right, TD? I don't know. We'll see. And then you also have Aviro, or Viro, however you want to pronounce that, the DC on Carolina, one of their bright spots on their team, if they allow him to leave, or if he's even allowed to interview anywhere else for a DC spot. And then also Leslie Frazier, who stepped away from football from Buffalo. You know, he looks like he's coming back. I don't think he'll get a head coaching job. So if he wants to take a DC role, I think that would be a good fit as well.
All right. Well, there you have it. Good input on that, because that's going to be an important position, especially for the Packers with a young quarterback, the defensive side of the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, the poll is up in the chat. Who are you representing? Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears? Let us know in the chat right now who you're representing. Well, this weekend, we had 2 big-time games. We had the 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers, and we also had the Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got to talk about these games. We're going to start with the 49ers versus the Packers. I'm going to start with Nick on this. Watching that game, what were your thoughts, and what did you take away from it?
Well, Bass, I think you now know the pain that happened to us in 2018 with Cody Parkey, because when I saw they missed that field goal at the end, I was like, no. I mean, like, listen, we're all here. Like, we're here having a good time. We all support the NFC North, the toughest division in football. And I was like, they're going to knock off San Fran. They're going to keep this thing going. And it's exciting to see an underdog go in and take down the number 1 seed. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And the Bears know all too well, especially, bad kickers. I mean, I know he's a rookie. I understand like the pressure was there, but it was a chip shot in my opinion. I mean, I could never kick it, but it was something that it shows how important kicker is in this league. And I can already tell that the Packers are definitely going to address that. But going off of Joe Barry, I know I came in late, guys, but I was shocked how well he sustained that San Francisco offense. I mean, for a guy that has got a lot of heat under him, you beat Dallas, you don't let them score a lot of points. San Fran didn't score a lot of points. Overall, the game was it was intense. It was a playoff game. It was a lot of intensity, a lot of energy. I will say though that Jordan Love didn't look terrible. I know he threw the pick at the end, but for a guy that with everything on his shoulders in the season that he's having, I thought he did a great job against arguably one of the toughest defenses in the NFL. So overall, it was a great game. It sucks for Bass, and you guys made the playoffs. You went deep, but San Fran they just had that little edge to it. So it was a good game.
Nice. One bar, your take on that and takeaways?
Well, I mean, don't get me started on kickers missing big kicks. So yeah, we can feel your pain. The thing is, like, I can't remember who I picked. I think I picked the Niners in a close one, but the Packers had a legit chance to win this game coming into it. I mean, we all know deep down the 49ers, are they a better team? Yeah, they're a better team, but the Packers playing so damn hot. The Niners coming in a little bit rusty. They hadn't played a game in a while. And the thing is, they came out rusty. So they come out. If you were to tell me Aaron Jones was going to rush for 100 yards, Jordan Love, I don't even think he got sacked. And Debo, the fact that he goes out early, like everything pointed, this was a perfect scenario for the Packers. And they just didn't do it. I mean, I know a lot of things went wrong. The rain, you got Brock Purdy wasn't having a good game. I don't think the Niners really had that great of a game. So when Debo went out, I'm like, this is done. Packers going to win this thing. But they didn't play that great. I mean, Jordan Love, Nick, you seem to be a little bit higher on his game than me. I mean, those 2 interceptions were pretty brutal. That last one, when you threw it, you knew it was going to be bad. But it's the Niners. It's the Niners. They're going to be a Super Bowl caliber team because they win games even when they don't play that great. And that's exactly what they did. The one thing I'll say is, Baz, I don't know what you were thinking when Greenlaw picked that off and the dude just kept running around. I'm like, he's going to fumble. I said, he's going to fumble. Why is he not going to the ground? It was insane. It was a great game. It was a great game. It was a heartbreaker at the end.
Yes, it was. Talk to us, Dion.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys both made good points. The Greenlaw thing was pretty nuts to watch. And, what Nick said about the kickers, man, I mean, my goodness, like every game in the playoffs feels like it's coming down to someone making a kick. And then here comes Badgley for us. He makes a 54-yard kick. I did not expect him to do that. So you're right, man. It's like, it always feels like it comes down to the unsung heroes. But at the same time, it's also what makes the playoffs so wild. Because, like, when I was watching that game as well, like, there was a big part of me that felt like, yeah, the Packers are going to get this thing done. Like, this is going to happen. And man, I was honestly hoping for that crazy matchup because of what it would have meant. Like, this show would have been crazy, but still, the Packers will be excited about the future of this one, I think, as they should. Yet at the same time, it's just like, this is how it goes, right? I mean, you just never know if you're going to be back. I think for most teams, you just never know what it's going to look like, and their opportunity was there. But I also think the Packers, man, they played about as well, I think, as the plan could have been for them to give themselves a chance in this one. So I give them a lot of credit. I mean, the missed kick, I mean, if I was a Lions fan, like that took some air out of my sails watching that thing. I was just like, oh my goodness, that is awful. But at the same time, as a Packers fan, I couldn't imagine what the feeling was watching that. But yeah, they played it, I think, exactly how you wanted to. Their first drive was long, man. They found the run game, passing the football. I think schematically, they found some really good answers for them in this one. And, to have that game at 7-6 in the first half, San Fran misses a field goal. And you're looking at that like, man, we're playing this exactly how we need to give ourselves a chance, especially because I thought they started then to play into their strengths. Brock Purdy looked rough. He looked a little bit shaky with some of that pressure, man. So overall, I think one bar said, man, this was a great game. It was a really fun watch, and it's just tough. It's tough, man. If this was like a 7-game series, I don't know if Green Bay would have preferred it to be that way. But if it was like a 3-game series, right? I mean, you just know that you played them exactly how I think you wanted to, and Bass will have a better sense on this. But I thought they played them exactly how they wanted to give themselves a chance.
Well, Bass, you know what's best. Tell us what happened.
It's just an upsetting end of the season, and it just feels like a broken record being a Packers fan, seeing this type of game go the way it went during the game where you're going, oh, wow, they are playing a lot better than the 49ers. Like, this is the recipe to beat them. Like you said, down 7-6 with the missed field goal before half, go out, score 15 right in the third quarter. And then you're talking in the fourth quarter, a massive Aaron Jones run up the middle that goes all the way into 49ers territory. And you're going, wow, we're up by 7. We can kick 3 here, go up by 10. And it's going to be pretty much a very easy, not easy win, but the 49ers are going to have a lot of trouble getting back into that game, maybe even trying to force it into overtime. And then you have that 41-yarder that Anders Carlson missed. And this has been a problem all year. So it is quite annoying. And I understand being patient on kickers. Like, Anders is actually kicking more efficiently than Mason Crosby was his rookie year. And they hung on to him, and you saw how that turned out. So I understand that, but it seemed like he was missing a kick every game, whether it was an extra point or a field goal. And it just showed, how ugly that can be in a playoff game. But overall, it was a close game. I thought that minus 9.5 line was disrespectful, and it 100% was. With the Packers missing a field goal and Jordan Love throwing 2 very bad interceptions, they still only lost by 3 points against the number 1 seed in their own house. They ran the ball well. Aaron Jones for another 100 yards. Like I said, Jordan Love didn't play too well. This was definitely one of his worst games since New York. The 2 interceptions, both of which pretty much his fault. But both poor throws. He was trying to kind of be a hero at the end there, scrambled outside of the right side of the pocket, threw a horrible horrible ball across back towards the middle and triple coverage. I don't know what he was thinking there. I just think Jordan Love has been making so many of those off-platform cross-body throws that he thought, oh, I can make this one. Like, I've been doing it for the last 2 months. I can make this one. And it obviously just didn't go his way. And they had like a lot more time and more downs, and maybe they go down and tie the game going to overtime. But overall, man, I'm still impressed with this team, how they bounced back this season and even got into the playoffs. Then, went into Dallas, pretty much dominated them, and then put up a very good fight against San Fran. And I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for Jordan Love, and they're going to be right back in this dance next year. I guarantee it.
Guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so do you see him progressing though? Maybe taking over the Lions or just being in the same position?
They progressed today with the firing of Joe Barry, so they already progressed. It's been what, 4 days since that loss, and they have already progressed. So yeah, I think so. It just depends how drafts go. The Lions are excellent at drafting lately. So are the Green Bay Packers. I think if either team really nails this upcoming draft, that might give them the edge, because I think they're closer than most people might think. Like I think that would have been a wonderful NFC North championship game, and I'm just sad it's not happening.
Dion, do you recognize the Packers as a legitimate threat for the future?
Well, I was going to say this. The silver lining, though, that did come out of this one was Bass's video. I don't know if anybody saw it. It was said, I hate the 49ers. And I was like, yo, what am I getting myself into here? My dude's playing Madden. He had like 150 points on the Niners. So I was just trying to figure out what was because he gave up 35. And so I was like, okay, Joe Barry must still be there and what's taking place. But he's going crazy on offense. I mean, look, man, this is the thing. The NFC North, as Nick said at the beginning, the NFC North is tough. The NFC North is well-rounded. I mean, and really the only questions, and this was the question I can remember when, as Lions fans, were getting hyped up. Like, man, we started this rebuild at the right time because everybody had questions at quarterback. It felt like everybody was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what is Fields going to be? The Vikings it seems like they're still trying to figure out what that is. And at the time, it was like, what we've seen of Jordan Love, we don't believe in this at all. So this was the perfect time to take that reset button. And what the Packers have going for them is they saw a really good stretch of really good football. So, yeah, I think I don't worry about them passing the Lions because what's going to happen is Goff is about to get this extension, and this is going to be, it's going to turn into something that we've seen in the past, where teams would kind of roll this division. It felt like that. And as Lions fans, we were never part of that. Now it's our time. This is going to be us for the next 6-7 years. So this show is going to be a lot of fun. But I will say, man, the rest of the NFC North is very competitive. And as long as the Vikings figure out their quarterback, this NFC North has a lot of talent in it.
Figuring out the quarterback for the Vikings, it seems like it might be a feat. One bar, what's the latest on that situation?
Nothing. Nobody knows. Kirk Cousins, he's going to do a hometown discount BS. The dude's going to get paid. This is his last contract. Who knows what's going to go on? If I had to bet on it, I would say Kirk is gonzo. I can already picture him in an Atlanta Falcons jersey. And I just think they're ready. I mean, it's just a gut. A lot of Vikings fans, I think they're gonna be moving on.
Man, so what are you saying? Free agency, draft? Where are you looking to replace that?
If it's free agency, that's gonna be rough. What are we gonna get? Ryan Tannehill? We'll see. I mean, rumor has it they wanted to trade up last year. We'll see if they trade up. It's gonna cost a ton to get in that top 3, a ton. So they better get it right.
Well, see, that's the conundrum, I believe. Do we see number 2 and number 3 making a trade for their pick or actually picking?
All three of them need quarterbacks. That's why it's going to cost so damn much.
Wait, who's okay? Bears. Who's next?
Commanders and Patriots.
Yeah,
Commanders, Patriots. Yeah. So why would they trade up? One bar. I mean, I think we've had this conversation and then left you miserable.
They're gonna trade. That's what I say. They trade up, man. We're not gonna have a first round pick until about 2038, and they better nail it. They better nail it because they're not gonna want to give up those picks, man. There's no free agent out there, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Kirk's not coming back. If I had to bet on it, I'd say he's not.
All right, but what about you, Nick, with Chicago? Tell us what's the latest, because the biggest mystery of it all, the entire draft, the biggest everybody just want to know what the Bears are officially going to do, and they won't let it be known.
Well, I love that Ryan Poles is keeping his cards close to his chest. I think he's doing a great job, kind of seeing what the market's doing. Like he's definitely watching the Kirk Cousins situation, because, if the Vikings do want one, I know the Vikings have all their picks. They have all their picks next year. He is evaluating every single trade partner right now. And he said in his end of the year press conference, he goes, we don't know what we're doing at the quarterback position. But he then doubled down and said he'd have to be blown away by a prospect to even consider taking one at number 1 overall to replace Justin Fields. So it sounds like Fields is still the guy. There's been videos this week of him working out at Hallis Hall every day. You know, we just brought in Shane Waldron as our offensive coordinator, which I am super pumped about. He's not only good at developing quarterbacks, but also working with veterans to their strengths. I mean, look what he did with Geno Smith a couple years ago. So the Bears, with that move, that still creates a big mystery. Like if they would have gone with Cliff Kingsbury, it would have been Caleb Williams all day. Like he just worked with him last year at USC, would have been that kind of situation. But Shane Waldron, who has been arguably a top 10 offensive coordinator the last 3 seasons in Seattle across a variety of categories, mainly being quarterback development, that's where the Bears are right now. So the number 1 overall picks value just keeps going higher and higher and higher as the weeks go on. You know, you start seeing, when Caleb declared for the draft, like that, it became multiple first rounders, couple second rounders, a veteran potentially. And the teams that I'm looking at that need a quarterback is New England, who is sitting at 3. But if they want the number 1 guy, they're going to have to trade up with the Bears. You're also looking at potentially the Vikings. You're looking at the Broncos, potentially the Raiders, the Falcons. Kind of like you were saying, Kirk Cousins could go to the Falcons, or they could go for the draft. So there's a ton of things that they can do with that number 1 overall pick. And me personally, I'm still in the train. Get a Hall. Like it has never been worth higher. Bears do have a veteran quarterback at the moment. Shane Waldron, he's the guy to do it if he were to do it to unlock Fields and build a team around. You still trade back, get Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially, or a top wide receiver, but there's a lot they can do. And as Bears fans and as other Bears content creator channels, we have no idea what he's doing. No one has any idea. It's just a playing game right now.
So you're really sold that they're going to keep Fields.
I can't see the number 1 pick. How many number 1 overall quarterbacks in recent memory, let's say the last 20 years, how many of them have actually gone to be like Patrick Mahomes wasn't number 1 overall. Cousins wasn't number 1 overall. Love wasn't number 1 overall. Goff wasn't. All these different, he was number 1 overall. Yeah, he was. He was number. Okay.
But isn't it a matter of who you pick, though? Not just the number 1 pick, but who you pick?
But I can't see the Bears taking a wide receiver with the number 1 overall pick, like in Marvin Harrison Jr. I can't see it with this year's draft with how many quarterbacks there are. I would rather trade back one time with New England, have that number 3 and get Marvin Harrison Jr. because Washington's for sure going to take a quarterback, new management, new coaches. They're going to take a quarterback. Sam Howell's not the answer there. I would trade back with New England, get maybe a second out of it and maybe next year's first. Any team that trades for that number 1 is going to have to give up next year's first too. There's too many. There was a mock draft with the Raiders and they gave up the next 3 first-round picks. So it's getting crazy, but I would rather stick with Fields this year because if you get another number 1 next year and you have yours, you could use both and trade up if you want. And every year there's been a generational player to be at quarterback. Like last year, people were saying Bryce Young was CJ Stroud. Now we're saying Caleb Williams and Drake May and Bo Nix. There's going to be a top quarterback next year that the Bears could get if they have more picks and they can trade up for if Fields doesn't work out.
Well, last question for you. What would be a price that would allow the Bears to come off of Fields?
Ooh. To come off of Fields? You're saying trade up?
If a team wants Fields, what would entice the Bears to say, you know what, let's send them off for that and go ahead and get the quarterback in the draft?
I saw that a few people were saying Atlanta is a hot spot. We kind of were talking about that earlier, a second, a third, and a next year 4th. For me, an established quarterback, a team that needs a quarterback that's still developing, you could still work with. I would take at least a second and a third this year for him. Kind of like the Sam Darnold trade. I would do something very, very similar to that trade. Anyone that's saying he's worth a first, I think that's just crazy talk. That's a big ask. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat, seeing the Harbaugh news.
Yeah.
Yes, for those who don't know, breaking news in the NFL. Here you have it. Michigan's coach, former coach Jim Harbaugh, is going to be a Charger. He is going to be a Charger. This is being reported by Mike Garofalo and Tom Pelissero. They basically did not allow him to leave town. They pretty much have wrapped this thing up. It's not official, but it's pretty much official. Finally, the former 49ers coach is back in the NFL. I want to get your quick thoughts on that. Sorry to cut you off, Nick, but let's go with one bar here. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I like it, man. Justin Herbert, maybe he'll actually get him to do something. Maybe they can actually take the next level. The Chargers seem like a team that's just loaded with talent that never goes anywhere. So Jim Harbaugh, I get a kick out of the guy. I'm glad he's back in the NFL. He was a name that the Vikings were pretty damn close to hiring themselves before they got Kevin O'Connell. So it would actually be kind of painful if he just absolutely lights it up there.
Wow. What about you, Dion?
I'm happy he's not in the division because I don't want to have to face him and then like root against him. At the same time, I'm very disappointed as a Michigan fan because that's awful. I mean, geez, before he got there, that thing was a disaster. But I'll say this, man, the Chargers win the division next year.
Whoa, you got them winning the division?
I would absolutely. I'd be buying a Bet US. I'd be getting on that website and buying some futures for the Chargers, man. That's gonna be a scary team with Harbaugh.
Oh man, that's interesting. Yeah, I gotta remember that one, Dion. What about you, Bass?
I'm huge on it. I feel like the Chargers have been like a great coach away from being the division winner there. And I think they have a great roster. And I think bringing Harbaugh is huge. Like Dion said, I'm glad he's not in the conference. I think it's going to be fun to see him in the AFC against his brother in the playoffs for the next 5 years. So I think that's going to be great. I liked him as a coach at San Fran. So I'm just glad, again, he's not in the conference.
Nick, close it out on Harbaugh.
I mean, I'm jealous because when the Bears were in conversations about potentially moving on from Eberflus, Harbaugh was the next guy. I'm happy for Chargers fans. Brandon Staley was holding that team back a lot, and I'm happy for Harbaugh too. But Dion was saying too, I didn't go to Michigan, but I like Michigan as my Big Ten team, and that kind of sucks.
No.
It is what it is. I'm super happy he's coming back to the NFL. It's another great coach. It sets a standard for other coaches, and hopefully, I'm kind of looking at it from a Bears perspective. If Eberflus doesn't work out, you had a shot at Harbaugh. Don't mess up again. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Like everyone's saying, it'd be nice to see brother versus brother in the playoffs.
Man, the NFL is just going wild, all kind of crazy things. I think this is probably going to be one of the most electric off seasons with all the drama and everything going on. Time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, this stream is being powered by BetUS. Receive a 125% bonus. The link is in the description of the video. Just so you know, you have an opportunity with BetUS to actually go to the Super Bowl. Man, BetUS is taking you and a friend to the big game. Win 2 Super Bowl tickets. All you have to do is bet on any NFL line and share your bet slip. $25 bet minimum on Twitter, now X. Make sure that you follow the rules. Tag the person you're taking with you, okay? Make sure you tag the person you're taking with you and make sure you follow the instructions. Here are the odds on the Super Bowl with BetUS. Detroit Lions to beat the Kansas City Chiefs are the biggest long shot. That's interesting. Well, first off, the Lions have to get there, but that is the biggest long shot. And then the second largest is going to be Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Detroit Lions. Basically, all that's saying is Vegas doesn't believe one of those teams will be there. And we'll talk about that a little later. But that's very interesting. Get your bets in right now on BetUS. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsor.
BetUS, America's favorite sports book, where you can bet on everything anytime. Sportsbook, casino, horse racing, live betting, and more. We have the best bonuses in the industry. That's right, get a 125% sign-up bonus. And to celebrate our 30-year anniversary, we are giving up to 30 risk-free bets, a truck, Super Bowl tickets, and more. Don't miss out. Play smart. Join now. BetUS, where the game begins.
BetUS, where the game begins. Remember, supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. Again, the link is linked in the description of the video. Thank you to BetUS, and take advantage of those Super Bowl ticket opportunities. But let's move forward to the other game that just took place over the weekend. We had the Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a game. Let's go ahead and start with Bass on this one. What were your thoughts watching it and your takeaways?
I thought it was a great game, and it really just came down to the end and a couple mistakes that the Buccaneers made, and the Lions also closing it out. I actually predicted in last week's show that the Lions would win 27-20, so kind of got really close there. And I basically said last week it would come down to who protects the ball. And we saw Baker throw 2 interceptions, kind of that traditional Baker we're used to seeing. Now, I still think he's their quarterback for the future, I guess you could call it. But it was the normal Baker. You saw 2 interceptions. But Bucs put up a fight. There's the no timeouts at the end. That one, I'm sure you saw it, Dion, where Goff kind of kneed it too early. And the Buccaneers didn't take a timeout, where it's like you could have forced a long field goal, and it's like, what if he misses it? Then you have a chance to make, like, would that have all happened? No, probably not. But it's still interesting that the Bucs didn't decide to at least try that. And their coach was pretty much like, oh, it's delaying the inevitable. But that's a little weird to say in the playoffs when it's like you have a timeout. It's just a little odd. But hey, I got to give credit to Detroit. They're for real, right? Like week in, week out, we're saying, oh, let's see what they do against this opponent. Let's see if they can make it to the next step. And they've done it every time. So I got to give credit to Detroit. Go beat San Fran and represent the NFC. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I had to pause right there real quick because Bash, you bring up a good point, and it drove me crazy. No, why did he not call the timeout? Like, that's a fireable offense to me.
It's terrible.
That's a fireable offense. You had a chance to have over 40 seconds left in the game.
A blocked field goal, something like that happens, right? Like Badgley isn't automatic. He's not automatic, right? Dose, like he's missed a lot this year, right?
I mean, he'll miss.
Exactly. And it wouldn't have been like a 50 plus, or what would the yard? It's just crazy to me.
I'm going to be honest with you. When he saw Detroit go into victory formation, I think he didn't realize he had a timeout.
Yeah.
That's what I think it was.
I don't think he understood the time. Because
psychology.
But
it happened. Go ahead, TD. My bad.
It might have been reverse psychology because you took a knee when you still should have been running the ball technically.
Yeah.
That when I saw that, I was, maybe the TV's wrong. Maybe they don't have it. Like, I've never seen a concession like that in the NFL. It made absolutely no sense whatsoever, because where were you all at on the field, Dion?
I don't know the exact number.
It's like the 30 something, right?
Yeah. We were around the 30. I mean, 20 to 30 yard line, somewhere between there. Here's the thing that confused me about it, because once it happened, I was like, okay, so there wasn't like a huge time differential because they still had the one time out. And the issue was that they were then past the 2-minute warning. But as you guys know, like, okay, I thought we'd run the ball, and it was like, it wasn't a huge difference, but like maybe you could try to run most of that off by just running the ball, and then your field goal may run out the entire clock. But when the Lions took the knee, once you see that, if you're Todd Bowles, you immediately have to call the timeout, because now it's like the Lions aren't, and it wasn't like the Lions were even standing there holding the ball. They were immediately taking the knee. Like, I thought maybe he'd stand there and wait. He was taking the knee immediately. So it ended up, because we were taking it, we weren't like wasting time. Like, we weren't holding the football during the play. So the clock ended up, like, by the time we got to the last one, there was like a somewhat of a difference between the clocks there. So they legit, they could have taken a time on the last one, because the Lions weren't running extra clock off. It was like both teams were just like, it's okay. It made me think of like the playoff game where it was like, hey, if you guys just, I think it was like, if you guys just tie, like, you both get in the playoffs, and then
Raiders,
for some reason,
Chargers.
like, there you go. I was like, hey, why don't you guys just tie the football game? I can understand why you did it, but in a way, it was just like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, once you saw the Lions take 2 knees, take the knee. There's no way I'd be okay with that as a fan of that team.
Yeah,
that's weird. It was the weirdest thing ever. Nick, watching that game, what were your thoughts and your takeaways?
Well, shout out to the Lions. I mean, like, they kept it rolling. It was just weird. There was so much weird stuff that happened. I know I don't want to, like, sound like a broken record, but like, why did he not call a timeout? That's all I had. That was my biggest takeaway. But overall, like, the Lions team, they came out and balled. Like, they played their hearts out, and they kept it going. I think that being at home for Detroit is a huge factor. I mean, like, Dion, I don't know if you were there, but it seemed like Ford Field was going bananas every single second of the game. You look at like different people's social media, you see people that were at the game, and it was just electric. Like, I don't know how an opposing team could go into Detroit during the playoffs and actually even have a chance. And, Baker, he made his mistakes, but the Bucs as a whole, they held their own until, obviously Detroit was the winner at the end. But man, that was a good playoff game. And Detroit's going to have their biggest challenge this upcoming game against San Fran, which I'm excited for them. I'm still rooting for them, Dion, like NFC North. Yeah, I would root for them even if it wasn't the NFC North. Anyone in the NFC North that isn't rooting for the Lions is just like jealous of the fact that you guys are in the NFC Championship. So just putting that out there in the chat too. But man, overall, what a game. The Lions just keep rolling. It's going to be interesting this weekend, man. That's all I got to say. Or this next game, man. It's going to be super interesting against San Fran. But it was a good game this past weekend for sure. And Baker, I think, earned himself a decent contract. I don't know about a max one, but I think that he deserved probably like a nice 2-year contract from Tampa.
Muted, TD.
You're muted, TD.
All right. Well, I gotta pause. I gotta pause again. And why did they go for 2?
Listen, can I chime in on this?
I actually like that.
I love it. I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
It's statistically correct to go for 2, because if you miss it, then you got to go for 2 anyways again to tie it. If you make it, you score your next touchdown, you win the game. You're done. You don't even got to worry about overtime. It's statistically numbers by the numbers. It makes more sense.
No, I loved it. I loved it.
I agree.
Got it.
I disagree for the simple fact of the complexity of the 2 different plays. Which one is easier, converting the 2-point conversion or converting the field goal?
As a Packers fan, it's probably the 2-point, man.
But you know what I mean. That's all I'm saying here. I didn't understand it. These are the playoffs. I mean, we're on this new age analytics stuff. The analytics must have told him not to call that timeout.
Probably.
Analytics said it wasn't going to matter. Come on. Man, one bar. Talk to us about the game. What were your thoughts, boss?
Well, first off, Nick, you're saying if you don't root for the Lions to get there, you're jealous. Well, I'm 100% jealous. So I'm not really rooting for the Lions. I've been rooting for the Lions up until this point, and I'm probably going to get some crap for this in the comments. But something tells me the Lions are going to be very good in the coming years. We're going to get sick of the Lions. It's not going to be cute anymore. It's not going to be we remember the bags on the heads and the fire melon signs. They're going to be a pain in our ass. So I'm just getting a head start on not rooting for the Lions. But that said, well done. It was a very good game. The Lions, I mean, like we've said it for a couple of weeks now, they're the real deal. I did not give the Bucs enough credit as I should, and I never will. Same with Baker Mayfield. They're a very good team. I thought the Lions were going to come out and beat them pretty damn bad. And really, the Bucs, like everybody say, I mean, they could have won. I mean, that interception right off the bat, if he catches that, I think it's a completely different game. Baker Mayfield's interception, Baker Mayfield being Baker Mayfield. But like I said, like the Packers, the Bucs had a chance to have an upset. For the Lions, they did their thing. I mean, week in and week out, they do their thing. It might not be the sexiest, it might not be the most entertaining, but every week the same dudes show up. Jared Goff, no turnovers. I don't think he's had a turnover. Have the Lions had a turnover all postseason? I mean, they don't turn the ball over. They run the ball. St. Brown does his thing. Laporta just rips it up. And Hutchinson, dude, is just an animal, man. I mean, he is a beast. I know we're going to talk about the Niners, but he's going to be a big part of that, getting the dub with Hutchinson. He's insane. So they're headed to San Fran. Confidence is high. Every damn week you see these guys getting happier and happier and happier. So the sky's the limit for these guys. They have a chance against San Fran. There's no doubt about it. And they are going to be damn good for the coming years.
Well, there you have it. And another thing. No. But no, there is an underrated comment in the comment section right now when it comes to analytics. And this is the problem that I have with analytics. Analytics only work if your team is good at that particular situation. One of the most underrated things. You may be the worst fourth down team in the NFL, but the analytics tell you to go for it on fourth. That's where the problem comes in. So, hey, I'm all for the new age of analytics, but it's getting a lot of people in trouble too. Talk to us, Dion. Tell us how you were able to do it and make it to the NFC Championship, man.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest real quick here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of like one bar in this sense. If the I'm just saying hypothetically, right? If we weren't in the playoffs and the Packers were going to the NFC Championship, I would not be rooting for the Packers to win.
None of y'all
Throwing
would.
it out there just because it's really what one bar said. Like if it's like every year that team's like right there, like at some point you're like, all right, this is cool. The NFC North, yeah, it's kind of like as a Michigan fan, like when people are like, oh, root for your conference. I'm like, I'm not rooting for Ohio State. I want them to lose every single game they play. But I get it. Like if they haven't been there for a while, I can understand. So if it was the Bears, I may feel different about it. Now, with that being said, though, I did look this up just because I wanted to get some clarification to this. So when the Lions got the ball back, there was a minute 33 left, and they would have had a timeout. So that difference only would have been like 13 seconds, right? Because you would have had a timeout and then 2 40-second plays if we just did the math on it. So the gap wouldn't have been different, but the gap became so close because the Lions weren't wasting any time. And I don't think they were taking the play clock, honestly, all the way then down to 1 second. They were just snapping and taking knees. So that's why the clock ended up so crazy. And they were at the 30-yard line with the last knee. So it would have been about a 50-yard kick. So I still would have done it if I were them. With that, like to me in this one, this was kind of just what the Lions have done all season long in a good way. It's been like the difference of this team is just finding a way. And to me, the halftime like situation that took place was the biggest thing for the Lions in this one. Now it was at home, so I guess you could argue it's different than being on the road. But the fact that the Lions went in at halftime, and I, as a Lions fan, I'm sitting there thinking, man, we're gonna pull away from this team. Like I thought we were gonna pull away. We were up 10-3, and we had 2 possessions basically at midfield offensively. And I was like, man, we just got to get anything. We can go up 2 scores, and we're gonna pull away from this team. But Tampa Bay has a huge drive before half, and the Lions offensively, they just left those opportunities out there. They dropped some passes. They came back. They took a sack. So all of a sudden you flip it around. Tampa Bay has 2 huge plays to Mike Evans, and you're like, dang, this game's tied at halftime, and they're getting the ball. So the fact that the Lions responded to that, and I thought Dan Campbell's message was huge coming out of the half, because when he came out of halftime, you know, he didn't stand there like there was no concern about what just took place. He was like, hey, this is how we expected it to go. This thing is going to be tight. So it was like the fact that they responded that way to what the heck just happened going into halftime. And it was really the defense that's been kind of just been picked on, you know, all playoffs by the outside. Like, oh man, their defense isn't that good. It was the defense that really kept us in that thing. It didn't let us fall behind. They made 2 crucial stops, gave the offense the ball back, and set us up to take the lead again. We were able to play with the lead for the remainder of that game. So just that sequence I thought was massive. But honestly, and I want to just share the stat because I think this is real interesting. You know, we talk about the future. I just want to talk about the future a little bit for the Lions real quick. Jared Goff's cap percentage was 13.7% this year. That's the second highest in the playoffs. It was also the 3rd highest in the league individually for a quarterback. And the Lions are in the NFC Championship. And I was just rolling through this, you know, prepping earlier today for a different show, that, you know, usually the quarterbacks that are getting paid, that are making it to the conference championship games, those are the guys that are like looked at as, man, that's like a Hall of Famer. That's the Peyton Mannings. That's the Matt Ryans. That's the, maybe not Matt Ryan, but you know what I'm saying? It's the Hall of Famers that people usually point to, or it's a rookie deal. And not many people would point to Jared Goff as one of those players, but he's got this team in a position that we really haven't seen in the last 12 years with what you would perceive Jared Goff to be. So I just thought I'd throw that out there that Jared Goff's going to get his extension. He's worthy of getting that extension. And if anything, I think it bodes well for the future because his cap percentage drops down to 11th currently heading into next season. So, you know, I thought I'd just kind of sprinkle that in there. That's a good win.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And just so you know, here's what the issue was. Dion. You know how you said they had a minute 33 left?
Yeah.
Well, the Lions also did something that didn't make sense. They were taking knees before the play clock went all the way down. And the reason why I bring that up, there was a minute and 5 seconds left, and it was 3rd down.
They had a chance, man.
All they had to do is take a timeout right there. And then you run the 3rd down and you got about 25 seconds left, 20 seconds after the play, and force the field goal. And remember, the Lions were taking these to the 31-yard line at that point. So that's a deep, 48-yarder or whatever it may be. That's just a collapse to me. That's just bad coaching. But hey, good job by the Lions. They took care of business, and now they will be moving forward. And on Friday night, we will have a show right here on NFC North Roundtable talking about that Lions preview versus the San Francisco 49ers. Go ahead, show them.
One bar space.
How old's that towel?
I thought Nick was gonna hop in and say something, so I was trying to.
No, because okay, you know what? If you're not rooting, if you're going against that, never mind, Dion. Like everyone's hating on everybody. Fine. Go Niners.
I'm just being honest, like in the past, there's no way I was rooting for other teams. But I think it's different. Hey, as content creators, it is different when you come to a show. In the past, I wasn't doing a show with people, but it's different when you talk to the people every single week. I think it adds a different element than just being a fan at home.
I know one person that like Eric Kramer. I know him like when he played for the Lions, and I texted him like, "Go Lions!" But I would root for them because I knew him. If I didn't know him, I'd be like, "Nah, go Niners." Put the money on the Niners.
There you go.
Bet US. Put the money on the Niners.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the stream is being powered by BetUS. Thank you to our sponsor, and thank you to all of our viewers watching. Again, we're almost at 3,500 subs, so if you're new, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Friday night, come back. Check us out. We love you all. We'll see you soon. Peace. We are out.